Frequency equals reality. We don't live in just a physical plane, a physical construct. There's many realms of reality that we're currently dancing and moving through. And the ability to create and master frequency gives you the ability to create and master reality. And through reading books and teaching and being applied and having mentors, I'm going to give you everything I know about mastering frequency. Because ultimately, if you can master your frequency, then you can master your life. You can create whatever it is that you want. It's really that simple once you understand this construct. Because we've been told from the dawns of time, we're being programmed to not understand this stuff. No one's ever told me about frequency. I had to seek out the knowledge. Once I sought out the knowledge, I understood why there's difference in people's lives, why there's a large disparity between the 99 and the 1%. The 1% understand frequency. The 1% understand identity. They understand how to do these things. And the first principle that I want to talk about when we talk about frequency is cause and effect. This is very important because life is circular. Life is cyclical. And that is one of the principles of reality. And so it's going to give us a better idea of how to master our frequency. So cause and effect is essentially the principle that nothing happens randomly. That there's always. And these are hermetic principles if you want to look deeper, like the Kabbalah and stuff like that. Cause and effect means there's no coincidences ever. And so you're going to challenge me immediately. And you're going to say, well, what about people that are just born unlucky? They're born in third world countries. They're born without an arm, without a leg. They get blown up as a kid in a war, etc., etc. Like all these things that people see as very random and see as very unlucky without an initial cause. They just see the effect. There are past lives. There's reincarnation. There's karmic debt. There's all these things that are happening cyclically. And so in a past life, maybe that's their karmic debt they're paying in this life. These are very real things. And cause and effect states very, very simply, for every effect, there's an original cause. And so what does that mean? That means we're always doing this. Always. There's always a cyclical pattern of life. And this directly affects frequency. Because let's say you grew up maybe not so great. Traumatic experiences, bad parents, poor neighborhood, etc. Okay, whether that was karmic debt or whatever the cause was of that effect, it just is at this current reality. This current external reality, that's your environment. And so now you're in this cyclical cycle of being affected by external and having the same cause coming out. Because, let me illustrate this very, very clearly. People get caught up in a negative cycle of internalizing their external reality and having it dictate frequency. Oh, well, what up? So most people do this, right? They're born. They're born. Oh God, they're born, okay? They go into life and they're born into a certain external environment that they basically have no say over. I mean, you kind of deal with your, again, cause and effect. But let's just say in this life, they were born into this. This oftentimes dictates their frequency. Actually, the vast majority. Because they see it to be true, they internalize it, that's our identity, right? Grow up, you had a parent that said you're dumb, that's our identity. They don't know that they can create. They don't know they're a creator. They don't know that they can dictate their own frequency. And so their external environment dictates their frequency. But that's the wrong cycle. And see, back to cause and effect and back to things being circular and secular. Ooh, shit. When you have this affecting this, then it's going to keep affecting that, because at the end of the day, the truth of the matter, the truth of creation of frequency is frequency will then create reality. And so if you're stuck in this continuous loop of environment to frequency, and you're in a bad environment, then you're just going to keep it in the same environment, because that's what your frequency is programmed at. Does that make sense? If your frequency is being programmed by your shitty environment, then you're going to keep getting that environment unless you change your frequency. It's just going to be one big cycle of cause and effect forever and ever and ever. And you're going to repeat it life after life after life until you learn your lesson of creation, until you learn your lesson. And so the question becomes, how do we master it? The question becomes, how can we change this cycle? The question becomes, how can we change our frequency to change our external environment? Because that is the cycle. That is the cycle. Most people, like I said, go the other way around. So let's talk about it. Most people are stuck in the same thought patterns, the same beliefs, the same mindset, the same imagination, everything, the same words, everything. They're completely, utterly stuck. Completely. So we have to break the cycle. How do we break the cycle? That is the most important thing I can give you from this video. Because we all have cycles, right? We're all creatures of pattern. How to break. And some of these patterns, by the way, some of these cycles could be lifetimes old. You have to understand, these things go deep. Like I said, reincarnation is real. So some of your cycles could be from 3 lives ago, but you could change it. How to break the cycle of your, and this is manifestation, right? This is how to manifest. And so when somebody asks, how do you manifest? That's actually a very silly question. It's how do you change your frequency? Because you already are. We are just constantly manifesting creatures. Consciously or subconsciously. 99% subconscious. Again, because we're already programmed. So there's levers that we can pull, and there's activities that we can do, and there's beliefs that we can believe in to strip ourselves of our current belief system to make room for a new frequency, to make room for a new identity. And so the biggest thing, well, a couple of the biggest things. So there's some big things that we're gonna run through. Number one is your imagination. The best thing about imagination is it's free and it's easy. And it's something that we have access to as human beings, as being made in the image of God, because we are creators just like God. Your imagination is going to allow you to start to change the tide. Start to turn it. Start to change how you see yourself, how you see the world. And this changes frequency. So if in your mind's eye and your imagination, before you go to bed, while you're meditating, all these things are fantastic for leveraging imagination. You want to see the ideal state. You want to see the ideal life. And once your mind's eye sees these things, you awaken the mind to these things and get specific. Wherever you want to be, with who, surrounded by love, surrounded by friends, all of these things are amplifiers for your frequency and for your mind's eye and the picture you see. And with repetition and with feeling and with relaxation, you're going to become that reality, which is your frequency. It's your subconscious mind. It's how your soul operates. It's how your soul sees yourself, your identity. And so if you can use imagination, Neville Goddard is fantastic if you want to study somebody that really, really talks about imagination. In your mind's eye, that pulls frequency. That is something that changes frequency. We use imagination all the time, but we're not intentional with it. Back to the cycle. You had a terrible day at work. You go home and you're imagining the terrible day. You're imagining before you go to bed. You're imagining what that one person said to you. You're imagining all of these negative things that keep you in this loop. And so you're manifesting the life you have. It's not random. You're stuck in a loop. And so we have to break the loop. And when we're intentional about this, then we start to have new patterns, new reality, new life. And so, like I said, before you go to bed, meditation. This is a great exercise. Before you go to bed, when you're laying in bed at night, imagine the day you just had exactly how you would have wanted to happen. That's a fantastic way to break the loop. And over time, this will get easier. You're still to feel it more. And just to preface, you want to be relaxed, grateful, just relax and enjoy it. Feel the normal feelings that would come up. And there's going to be subconscious flares. That's going to be for another video because this is going to be just way too much information. If you want to be relaxed, you want to be grateful. Now, another activity and behavior you can pull is the power of your words. And I'll just include plus feeling. Because again, we need to change the cycle of your frequency. And so your words right now, whether in your mind or verbally or written, right? Anytime you're using words, it's probably in that cycle. It's probably in the cycle of, I hate my job, I hate my life, blah, 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 blah. And so again, you're just manifesting the same thing over and over and over. And so you become the frequency and then reality changes, not the other way around. You have to be first. Reality's not gonna be first. You were always first, you're the creator, and so you're creating reality. With that being said, you have to be speaking, talking and writing with all your words like you're in this state that you want to be in, like you're living the life that you want to be in right now, present tense, the I am. And so the important anchor of this is the feeling, right? If I say, I love my life, it's not really good. It's like a pack a punch. We need the feeling, right? And so we can get this feeling with the relaxed state, with imagination, and then we can use words that are very powerful. Another way to use words is to ask questions around your desired outcome. It's very powerful for programmers of question. So like, for example, let's say losing weight's your biggest goal. You wouldn't say, I mean, you can say, I am fit, I'm strong, I'm healthy. Another great way to do that is, why am I so fit? Why am I so strong? Why am I so healthy? When you ask things in reverse, things seep into the subconscious mind very, very strongly. Great exercise. These are all things to change frequency, right? Change frequency. And so another really big lever is resentment release. And so oftentimes when I work with people, or I work with entrepreneurs, there's a lot of trauma. Everyone has trauma, right? Everyone's been through things, of course. And so they hold on to a lot of resentment. It really holds them back, because you can't be free to create if you're being dragged down by negative emotions, right? There's a plane of frequency. The lowest is hate, envy, resentment. The highest is love and gratitude. And so there's a spectrum of feelings that you can feel at any given moment. Based on those feelings is a lot of your frequency. And so a lot of people are perpetually stuck in resentment. They got raped, they had something terrible happen to them, and they can't let it go. They're stuck and they're addicted to the feeling of that negative experience, that trauma. And it holds them back from creating. It holds them back on creating a new cycle. Because you can't just imagine and say words, but truly in the bottom depths of your soul, you feel angry and miserable. We have to be aligned, synergetic with the highest frequency, the highest consciousness possible for you. And so a great practice to release resentment is using imagination, using words, writing things down, coming to peace with certain things. You have to understand how people have treated you in the past has nothing to do with you. Zero. It's a reflection of their internal state. And the same goes for you, the same goes for me. Everybody perceives things and has certain behaviors and certain actions based on their internal reality. So how somebody treats you has nothing to do with you. Zero. Like, people can look at me and see me in a million different ways, all based on that. It has nothing to do with me. And so if you've been hurt, if you've been betrayed, if you've been deceived, and we can go on and on about these negative things that people have done, it has nothing to do with you. And the moment you're able to accept and release and come to terms and forgive and live in grace, you skyrocket your frequency and you can create the new pattern. When you skyrocket your frequency and create a new pattern, your reality changes by law, cause and effect. Different frequency, different reality. Different emotions and feelings towards the past, different future. Different imagination, different use of words, different use of thought patterns, different use of beliefs, different reality. And these are things that take time, right? It's not, I mean, if you are a mystic, maybe it can happen immediately. I'm not gonna rule anything out. But these things take time. And so maintain faith. You could think everything is going wrong, but in reality, everything could be going right. And it most likely is, so long as you're doing these principles. And there's a lot more information that I obviously cover on my channel. I work with entrepreneurs of high-level performers on mastering frequency, breaking through plateaus. If that interests you, I'm gonna drop the application link below to work with me. Hope you have a great day.